Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer in that order. Welcome everyone, continuing our most valuable cards from an era list. Today we're going all the way back to the early 1970s. Yes, looking back 50 years, I'm going to count down the top 20 most valuable cards from 1970 to 1974. Topps was basically the only game in town for baseball cards, as it had been for a number of decades at this point. And the early 1970s is really a great era for baseball, as there's a lot of overlap of all-time greats, many at the sort of end of their career, Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, Willie Mays, Ernie Banks, for example. Others at the beginning of their career, Nolan Ryan and Mike Schmidt, Reggie Jackson and others sort of in the prime of their career, Tom Seaver, Pete Rose, etc. Rules for this list are we're going to be looking at the top sets only, so no oddball brands. Each player can only appear once. If they would appear more than once on the top 20, then we'll just use their most valuable card. And we're going to be looking at the average of recent sales in a PSA 7 to determine the ranking, but we'll show the values of each card in a variety of different grades, including the all-time record sale of the card in any grade. There'll be some interesting tidbits at the end for any of those of you who like tidbits, and there will also be 2 trivia questions based on this list, so pay close attention and keep extensive notes. Opening up the list, at number 20 is a player that, according to the Beastie Boys, had mad hits, and that's Rod Carew. That's his 1970 tops, 73 tops, and 74 tops on screen there. Carew had over 3,000 hits for his career, once batted .388 in an entire season, and played in a whopping 18 All-Star games. His most valuable card from the era is the 1972 tops. This is actually in the high number series, card number 695, so a higher number than others. And in the early 70s, particularly 70, 71, and 72, but 73 as well, the high number series are quite a bit rarer than others cards in the set, so they often get a bump in value. This card in a PSA 7 sells for about $133. You can pick the card up raw, meaning in sort of solid mid-grade condition, for about $20. And the all-time record sale of the card was for $7,800. That was for a PSA 10 back in July of 2022. Number 19 is one of 4 pitchers we're going to get in the top 20 here, if you want to try to guess the others ahead of time. And that's a card of Tom Terrific, Tom Seaver, who, if you go by career WAR, has the second highest career WAR of any starting pitcher in the last 100 years, behind only Roger Clemens. That's his 1970 Topps playoffs, his 1972 Topps boyhood photos, and his 1974 Topps card on screen there. I thought the 74 Topps was a kind of cool in-action shot. His most valuable card from the era is in the 1971 Topps set, and I should say this here, 1971 is going to absolutely dominate this list. That's because the cards are condition sensitive with the black borders, so any sort of mid or high grade copies just get a boost in value. The vast majority of cards that are going to land here are from 1971, and here's the first example with PSA 7s going for about $136. You can see PSA 9s get way up there in value. 36 grand record sale for a PSA 9 back in October of 2022. Again, that's because the pop counts on 71s in 9s and 10s are extremely low. Number 18 is our first rookie card to land here, and that's the rookie card of Steve Garvey, who has quite a bit of hardware to his name. Played in 10 All-Star games, won 4 Gold Gloves, an MVP, a World Series, 2 All-Star MVPs, and also owns the all-time National League record for consecutive games played with over 1,300. That's his 1972 Topps, 73 Topps, and 74 Topps on screen there. His rookie card is in the 1971 Topps set. PSA 7s going for about $148, and the all-time record sale was of a PSA 10 for 25 grand plus, but that was over 10 years ago, back in May of 2012. That was the last known sale of a PSA 10. If another one hit the open market today, it would probably fetch a lot more than that. Number 17 is our second pitcher, and that's a card of Bob Gibson, whose 1968 season may just be the greatest single season for a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball history, as he had a ERA of just 1.12 for the entire season. That's his 1970, his 72, and his 74 Topps on screen there. His most valuable card from the era is again in the 1971 Topps set. Sort of a cool in-action photo. PSA 7 is going for about $154. There has never been a PSA 10 copy of the sale in history, so the all-time record sale is a PSA 9 going for about $4,500 in early 2022. You can get the card raw in mid-grade for about $15 or so. Number 16 is a card of the human vacuum cleaner, and that's Brooks Robinson, who is considered by most to be the greatest defensive third baseman in baseball history. And in fact, he has the second most Gold Gloves in Major League Baseball history at any position, behind only Greg Maddux, a starting pitcher. Robinson won an incredible 16 Gold Gloves. And here's a fun little tidbit. Robinson also holds the all-time record for grounding into triple plays. He grounded into 4 triple plays over his career. That's his 1970 tops, his 72 tops, and his 1974 tops there, all showing him with the Baltimore Orioles, who he played his entire career for. His most valuable card is the 1971 tops, again, sort of an in-action photo with PSA 7s going for about $161. Nice collector value. PSA 5 you can get for under $40 of this very, very cool card of this very historic player. Number 15 made a slight exception here to the rule that no player can appear twice, but wanted to make sure this card got represented as it's very cool. It's a 1973 Topps card featuring Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, and Willie Mays. You can see all 3 of their 1973 Topps cards on screen there. The Ruth is actually just a all-time leader card. He obviously was not playing in 1973 anymore, but made the exception here because both Hank Aaron and Willie Mays will pop up again later. But like I said, I think this card is particularly cool. 1973 Topps all-time home run leaders, card number 1, featuring Ruth, Aaron, and Willie Mays. We'll call it a Babe Ruth card for the purpose of not cheating the list here, but it shows the all-time home run leaders at the time of the card was made. 714 was still the record held by Babe Ruth, but both Aaron and Mays were close on his heels, and Hank Aaron, of course, would eventually overtake Babe Ruth as the all-time home run leader. PSA 7 copies of this card go for about $187, and there was a PSA 10 sale approaching 10 grand, but that was all the way back in 2015. Again, if another one got put up for sale today, it would go for a lot more than that, as this card is one of the greatest star power cards of all time. Number 14 is our third pitcher and our second rookie card, and that's a card of Bert Blyleven. If you remember, Chris Berman used to give middle name nicknames to players, and Blyleven's middle name was B. Home, and if that doesn't really seem to make sense to you, just say his full name with B. Home being his middle name, and it just sort of works. His 1972 tops, 73 tops, and 74 tops are on screen there. Blyleven won 287 games and had a career pitching WAR of over 90. That's very impressive, of course. His rookie card is in the 1971 top set with PSA 7s going for just short of $200. You can get the card raw for just $10 or so, and look at that record sale, 6 figures for a PSA 10 back in early 2022. Number 13 is our first of what will be 3 catchers to appear on the top 20 list here, and it's also our third rookie card, and that's a card of Ted Simmons. That's his 1972 tops, 73 tops, and 74 tops. 8-time All-Star. Ted Simmons' rookie card is in the 1971 top set, and then all 3 rookies we've seen so far have been in the 1971 top set. PSA 7s going for over $200, and a PSA 9 holds the record for just short of 10 grand in late 2022. There has never been a sale of a PSA 10 copy of this card. Number 12 is a card of Rich Allen, sometimes known as Dick Allen, sometimes known as Richie Allen. I believe Dick Allen is the most common name that he goes by, but that's his 1970 tops, 72 tops, and his 73 tops on screen there. The 70 and the 72 clearly using the same photo, which is funny because he's with different teams on the 2 cards, but there's no team logo in the photo, so there's probably some story there for why Topps used that photo twice. But Allen was a 7-time All-Star, won an MVP, Rookie of the Year, and had a career WAR of close to 60, despite having a fairly short career. His most valuable card is in the 1971 top set, and this is a not just a high number, but also a short print in the high number set. So this is actually a very, very rare card for the era. PSA 7s go for about $220. There has never been a PSA 10 sale nor a PSA 9 sale, as this card is extremely tough to get in high grade. The all-time record sale is actually a PSA 8.5 for just over $3 grand. Number 11 is a card of Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks, who would be on many people's shortlist for the greatest shortstop of all time. 14-time All-Star, 2-time MVP. That's his 1968, 69, and 70 tops on screen there. Had to go back into the 1960s to pull up some cards of Banks, as he only has 2 cards in the early 1970s. You can see, again, the Topps reused the photo in the 68 and 69 card, just sort of zooming in there. His most valuable card is the 1971 Topps, and this is, in fact, his very last card in the hobby as during his playing days. PSA 7s go for about $239. Never been a PSA 10 sale, but PSA 9s, as you can see, go for well over 40 grand. Number 10, when I did the countdown of the late 1970s, had 6 multiplayer rookie cards in the top 20. Here in the early 70s, we will only get 2, and the first one lands here at number 10. The rookie card of Dusty Baker and Don Baylor, as well as a third player. Both Baker and Don Baylor had very, very relevant playing careers, long playing careers, and Dusty Baker has recently had a lot of success as a manager. That's Dusty Baker's 1972 Topps and Don Baylor's 1973 Topps. They share a rookie card in the 1971 Topps set, card number 709. It's also in the high number series, so a lot of things going for this card. Very, very tough card to get in high grade, as is the case with many of the 71s. PSA 7 is going for about $292, and there has never been a sale of a PSA 10. Coming in at number 9 is a player I probably would have guessed would have landed higher, and that's Hank Aaron. That's his 1970 Topps, his 1973 Topps all-time leader, and his 1974 Topps record breaker. The 74 Topps on the right celebrates when he set the all-time career home run mark. Or he still ranks second all-time today, and actually is still the all-time leader in career RBIs. His most valuable card from the era is, you guessed it, the 1971 Topps. PSA 7 is going for about $315. There was a PSA 10 sale back in December of 2020, which went for $60,000. Going from the all-time career RBI leader to the all-time career hits leader, coming in at number 8 is Pete Rose, and that's his 1970 Topps league leaders, his 1972 Topps, and his 1974 Topps. Charlie Hustle, in addition to being the all-time leader in career hits, is also the all-time leader in career games played and at-bats. His most valuable card, the 1971 Topps in a PSA 7, goes for about $365. Raw is about $30 in mid-grade, and PSA 9s go for 5 figures. Number 7 is our second of 3 catchers and on the short list of the greatest catchers of all time, and that's a card of Johnny Bench of your Cincinnati Reds. That's his 1970 Topps, 72 Topps, and 73 Topps on screen. Nice in-action shot on the 73s, making a catch right by the dugout. 14-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time MVP, 2-time World Series winner, lots of other hardware on his resume. His most valuable card, the 1971 Topps, goes for about $380 in a PSA 7, $20 raw, and again, look at the inflated value of a PSA 9 because of the really low pop count. $42,000 was the last sale of a PSA 9 a little over a year ago. Number 6 is a card of Reggie Jackson. That's his 1970 Topps, 72 in action, and 74 Topps. I was actually surprised that the 1970 Topps on the left was not his most valuable card. It's actually his second-year card. 14-time All-Star, won 5 World Series with the A's and Yankees, earning the nickname Mr. October. The 1971 Topps in a PSA 7 sells for about $417. And another card from the 71 set that has never seen a PSA 10 sale, with the record sale being a PSA 9, just short of $60,000 in February of 2022. Number 5 is a player who would be on the short list for the greatest third baseman of all time, and that is Mike Schmidt of your Philadelphia Phillies. That's his 1974, 75, and 76 Topps on screen. The 1974 on the left is his first card where he appears all by himself on a card. 12-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glove winner, 3-time MVP, and Schmidt reached over 500 home runs for his career. His rookie card is the 1973 Topps. It's in the high number series. PSA 7s go for about $500. Raw is over $100 in mid-grade. And this is the all-time record sale for any card in this era, 1970 to 1974, in world history, is a PSA 10 copy of the rookie here, $234,000 in February of 2021. Number 4 is our fourth and final pitcher, Nolan Ryan. And I've been doing a number of these era lists recently. Did the early 90s, did the 80s, did the late 70s, and now here's the early 70s. And Nolan Ryan has appeared on every list so far. That's his 1971 Topps, 72 Topps, and his 73 Topps league leaders. Ryan is the all-time leader in career strikeouts and career no-hitters with 7. His most valuable card from the era is his 1970 Topps. It's in the high number series. This is actually his third-year card. PSA 7 is going for over $500, and a PSA 10 reached 6 figures in August of 2021. Number 3, getting down to the big boys here, and say hey, Willie Mays. That's his 1970, 72, and 73 Topps. The 73 Topps on the right is his last card in the hobby during his playing days, as he retired in 1973. Among his many accomplishments, 12-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time MVP, retired as number 3 ranked all-time in career home runs, currently ranks 5th, over 3,000 hits, and listen to this one, 24-time All-Star. That's right, wrap your head around that one. His most valuable card from the era is the 1971 Topps. It's in the high number series. PSA 7 is going for about $538. Never been a PSA 10 sale, and the all-time record sale is a PSA 9 back in May of 2022 for $42,000. Number 2 is one of the most famous in-action card shots in baseball card history, and it's our final catcher on the list, a card of Thurman Munson. It's his 1970 Topps rookie on the left, 73 Topps and 74 Topps on the right. Munson tragically passed away in a plane crash at just the age of 32, so his career was cut short, but he still managed to win an MVP, play in 7 All-Star games, and put up a career WAR of 46 in only 11 seasons. His most valuable card, as I mentioned, is the famous in-action shot 1971 Topps with the All-Star rookie as well. Again, it's not his official rookie as he appears in the 1970 set, but might as well be, as PSA 7s go for $723. The card raw and mid-grade goes for about $70, and a PSA 9 sold about a year ago for $200,000. And number 1, another player who died tragically in a plane crash during his playing days, Roberto Clemente. That's his 1970, 72, and 73 Topps on screen. The 1973 Topps on the right is his last card in the hobby during his playing days. Clemente was a 15-time All-Star, 12-time Gold Glove winner, 4-time batting title, 2-time World Series winner, an MVP, and he passed away at just 37. He actually had a number of years left as his final season. He had a WAR of 5. His most valuable card from the era is the 1971 Topps set in the high number series with PSA 7s going for about $793. There was a PSA 10 sale, but it was all the way back in 2016. If put up for sale today, it would certainly reach 6 figures, probably multiple 6 figures. So there's your top 20 most valuable cards from the early 1970s. 16 of the 20 cards are from the 1971 Topps set, so my apologies for the lack of variety there. Interesting tidbit for those of you who like tidbits, there were only 5 rookie cards in the top 20. Doesn't it seem like that should have been higher? 2 trivia questions for you as promised, and this is an open note quiz, so you are allowed to use the notes you took while watching the video. Number 1, 5 of the cards in the top 20 did not feature a Hall of Famer. Name them. And number 2, 3 Hall of Famers have rookie cards in this era, and they were not featured in the top 20. Name them. I'm going to let the video run for about 5 seconds here, but feel free to pause the video if you want to take some time to figure it out. All right, the answer to your trivia questions, the 5 non-Hall of Famers in the top 20 were Steve Garvey, Rich Allen, Pete Rose, the Baker Baylor, and Thurman Munson. And the 3 Hall of Famers who have rookie cards in this era but did not make the list were Carlton Fisk, Rich Gossage, and Dave Winfield. It should be noted that the 3 Hall of Famers rookie cards didn't make the list in PSA 7s because of 1971's dominance, but they sell for big bucks in PSA 10, as you can see on screen here. But that's it for your early 1970s video. Hope everybody enjoyed, and see you all again next time. Thanks, everyone.